Hey everybody, how's it going? Good Friday evening. Okay, on to the main event. Let's talk about what Russell Wilson had to say yesterday. I talked a little bit about DJ Reed's comments and Bobby Wagner's comments, but I kind of wanted to leave the Russell Wilson stuff to another video because he said a lot of things and there's been a lot of work analyzing what he said. Yeah, let's start with the big thing that he said. Not that this is anything shocking to us. This kind of just backs up what Carroll and Schneider said a few weeks ago. Russell Wilson insisted he never requested a trade and is here to win it all. So Wilson insists that he didn't ask for a trade. Now, he was somewhat evasive about the list of four teams that he would have been okay being sent to. So I don't really know how to feel about this. One thing that I think everybody needs to remember when you're talking about these comments are what else is Wilson going to say at this point? Is he going to say, oh, no, I really wanted to get traded. I want out of here ASAP. I'm pissed off that the team didn't trade me. You know, it sucks that I'm still here. Like, no, nobody's going to say that. So Wilson saying this is not necessarily any sort of groundbreaking statement that clarifies a bunch of stuff that we were, as fans, confused on. I will say this, though. When a player is on the trade block and has requested a trade, usually it seems like we know about it. Like Deshaun Watson. We know that Deshaun Watson requested a trade. That's been made very public. Aaron Rodgers. He seems to have requested a trade, or at the very least, he wants out of Green Bay one way or the other. And we know about it. That's not something that is being kept completely behind closed doors. I remember in the NBA, you had like guys like Carmelo Anthony and Dwight Howard. They wanted to get traded, and we knew about it. We never found out about any Russell Wilson trade rumors to that degree. So I think it's pretty believable that Wilson never requested a trade. But I will say this. When asked about the list of four teams he produced, he seemed to indicate that it was because he thought that the team wanted to trade him, so he wanted to let them know, if you trade me, it has to be one of these four teams. So that kind of means that somebody's probably not telling the truth, right? Between Carroll and Schneider saying we never intended to trade Wilson and Wilson saying I never asked for a trade, it kind of makes you think it's possible that somebody's lying there, unless both sides just got extremely confused by the media, which is certainly possible. Um, he also kind of downplayed his comments about the offensive line, when he said he was sick of getting hit so much. He basically said, it wasn't intended as criticism. Dwayne Brown is one of my best friends. And I don't know exactly how every offensive lineman on this team is going to take those statements, but I do agree with the sentiment that Wilson getting hit a lot doesn't have as much to do with the offensive line as a lot of people assume. The real issue is the offensive scheme, the offensive system. Wilson's holding on to the ball too long. I've gone over the stats before. The quarterbacks who hold the ball longer than Wilson on average are rookies, are scrambling quarterbacks who run around in the backfield a lot to make plays, like Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, or they have elite offensive lines like Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen. So I could see him saying that, I never intended to throw my line under the bus, because some people, myself included, kind of wondered if that's how it was going to be taken. But on that front, I think I see where he's coming from, and I agree with him. He also said his, let's see here, relationship with Carroll could not be stronger, and they have had some great talks. Also says he's had great talks with John Schneider, says they're all on the same page. He said there was a lot of confusion and that teams were calling about trying to trade for him. We know the Bears made a big swing to try to go get him. There were probably some other teams involved as well, maybe the Saints, maybe the Raiders. But according to both sides, there was never any discussion of the possibility of a trade, which I don't know. I don't know. We'll never know for sure. And hopefully this ends up being a amusing little sideshow in what will be a long career for Seattle, for Russell Wilson. but we'll never know exactly what happened this offseason for sure. He kept trying to say all the right things. Basically, Wilson's press conferences are always pretty generic. He doesn't give too much away, which is a good thing, by the way. I want to stress that. You don't want to give away too much in these press conferences. You don't want to give too much to the media. You want to keep them at arm's length. So I like that. I can dig that. Um, there were a few other interesting comments. He said that he thinks Seattle has the best tight end group in the NFL, which is, well, it's cool that he thinks that, I guess. I'm not going to knock the dude for over complimenting his teammates. That's obviously not a true statement. But the fact that he called that out specifically does give me some hope that with the new offensive coordinator coming in and the new offensive system, we may have a focus on getting the ball to tight ends because I think that's a um, edge in the game that we did not do a good job exploiting last year, and maybe we can do it this year. On the subject of restructuring his contract, we didn't really learn anything brand new here. He said that he would be willing to restructure his contract and that the team knows about it and that he's still willing to do it. I've gone over this in the past, but Wilson does not even really need to give permission to restructure his contract. If the team feels the need to do it, they will do it. There seems to be an attempt on the part of this team to not do it. Either they don't feel like it's necessary or they're trying to keep their options open for 2022. At this point, I'm starting to think we're just not going to do it. We're going to make do with a little bit of money we have, and we might eke out a little extra money by extending Jamal Adams. Um, Other than that, all Wilson really had to say were generic things like "I want to win, I want to be here," etc., etc. He talked about the Shane Waldron offense for a little bit, which was obviously nice. He talked about how it's super complex. I think that we have a lot of great things about it. We're going to be able to mix a lot of personnel, a lot of different people around using the whole field. He says he didn't have any conversations with his offensive linemen about what he said, and that he thinks that him not being in the letter to season ticket holders was just an accident, which I don't know. I don't know. We will never know for sure, but that feels like a pretty big accident to happen. That's your $35 million quarterback. You're not going to put him in there. Feels like maybe they were thinking something, but that doesn't mean that something was something that was actually there. Um, he also one final thing of interest that he said that I want to touch on is he said the new offense will not be a massive departure from what they've done. Says many core concepts will remain. And here's what I'm going to say about that. Russell Wilson has a phenomenal deep ball. He's one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. He has tremendous potential on those deep shots. He's been the best deep ball quarterback in the league many years in his career. But the problem last year was when teams took that away from us, we didn't have anything else. So as we go into 2021, one thing I really want to put a spotlight on is I do not want this team to get away from throwing the ball deep because Wilson's really good at that. But the goal for 2021 should be that when teams take that away from us, and they will because we're good at it and we've been good at it, we need to have a counter. And last year we did not have a counter. So when I hear Wilson say something like that, saying, the offense will not be a massive departure, first thing I want to do is go like, ugh, because that doesn't sound good to me. But what I hope it means is that when the deep ball is not there, when teams go into that cover two to take it away, we have a counter. Last year, we waited all season for the counter, and our only real counter was score less points and hope the defense can help us win the game. And that's really about all there is to say about the OTAs. One thing is, Wilson does look a little slimmer and a little bit more muscular than he has in previous years. So that's a really good sign. I know some people were concerned about his weight, myself included. He looked a little out of shape to me at points last year, looked a little slow. So if he's done work this offseason to try to get into shape and be able to actually, you know, do the stuff that he's done for most of his career, make the amazing plays in the backfield. So if he has done that, that's obviously very good. And that's really all I can say about this one. Mandatory minicamps next week. We'll watch for some storylines there, but that's basically what Wilson said. Again, I want to stress he has no choice but to say this stuff now. Just because he's saying it does not mean that it's 100% the case. There's no universe where he would come out and say, yeah, I wanted to get traded out of here, but they didn't happen, so I'm stuck. No, he's not going to do that. But I think it's believable, at least most of it. I still have questions about that list of 4 teams he gave the team. He gave the team, the Raiders, the Saints, the Bears, and the one other team. I can't remember who, but I still feel like there's something fishy around the fact that he presented that list to the team. Somebody at some point seems like they may have been trying to trade him, either him trying to trade himself or the team trying to trade him. But we'll never know. We'll never know. And we also know it's not going to happen now. So see you guys later. Peace out. Go Hawks. Let me know what you thought about his presser in the comments, and on to on the field things. Hopefully no more talk about this Wilson trade stuff.